Hello, I am back. This is part 2 of What If Deku or Izuku Midoriya was a Transformer. Now, as you can see, I am kind of moving around at the moment, so don't expect... the TV's on up here. Anyway, don't expect me to, be sitting around for the most part, but I did get the picture of Deku colored. Where's the remote so I can mute that sound on the TV? I'm just setting up my Switch up here because my parents are gone at the moment, so is my grandma, and I prefer to record my videos when no one's around, specifically when it has to be the videos that are of me doing a story such as this. Anyway, where were we? Oh yeah, entrance exam. Before I real quick start, if anyone's wondering, and by anybody I mean the one dude who watched the part 1, Deku did not run into Uraraka because he didn't trip. However, him and Shinzo and Uraraka are in the same, what's it called? The same exam site. I'm gonna need this. And, I had that picture ready to show. Oh, wait, it's actually already upstairs. Okay, so let's see. So, yeah. Izuku and Shinzo are both getting ready to do the first exam. And as we all know, and as me and the other person who watched the video know, Shinzo's the one with One for All in this story. And Deku can transform his body into vehicles and into different tools and weapons that he needs. Mostly his hands will turn to those. For instance, like if he goes to a hero event and there's like a bunch of garbage, he could easily come across like the aftermath of a hero fight, and in said fight, the pro hero and villain could have caused a bunch of garbage, and so they could obviously see construction workers trying to work on fixing the area. Also, here's that's what his transformation form looks like. I based it as much as I could off of his costume. Made the colors a bit lighter. Made sure to keep the whole glove design going on, and the shoes being red. But anyway, so where was I? Oh yeah, so he would have like scanned stuff such as like a jackhammer, because you never know what could be useful at the time. Or like maybe even a drill. A drill could be really useful for certain things. I already plan on using the jackhammer for something. Anyway, so Izuku and Shinzo, I don't know which is his first name, Shinzo or Hitoshi. Anyway, I'm just gonna refer to them by their first name so I don't get confused, and because I'm also not Japanese. So, anyway, they're waiting to do their entrance exam, and upon arrival, they notice a brunette girl with short chestnut-colored hair that has been cut into a bob, who is a little bit nervous to take the exam. So, Izuku goes over to see if she is okay, and if she needs to be wished any luck, of course, because he's Deku, he's got to be a nice guy. Shinzo tails after him, but then Ida tries to stop them. I'm not going to just refer to him as just a random guy. We know who he is. We've seen the anime. Anyway, so Ida tries to stop them, wondering if they're trying to interfere with other examinees. Shinzo's the first one to speak up, telling Ida that he should mind his own business and that they were just trying to help her get over her Yeah, I'm terrible with words. It comes with my autism. What's the word I'm looking for? Not frustration. What was it? Shut up, Mookie. Crud. I forgot what the word is. Nervousness. That's what it was. Nervousness. I'm just gonna keep the phone on this picture so that you have something else to look at besides, the ground this time. Also, this picture will be updated again in the future. Plus, I plan on doing other robot forms for Deku. Anyway, so Ida apologizes for this, realizing that he was in the wrong, and literally right afterwards is when President Mike tells them that they can start, and the gates just open. Of course, multiple people are hesitant and kind of confused, but Hitoshi and Deku immediately head out there, with Deku transforming into his motorbike form and heading out there. While Hitoshi uses, well, he doesn't call it full cow, but let's just call it that. This cat, I swear. Anyway, so they both rush out of there, and then everybody else gets their senses back and heads out there too. And well, let's start with the fact that unlike in the original timeline, Izuku actually is more confident, so he easily gets a bunch of points. And every now and then he stops and helps somebody out using one of his tools or weapons to take out other robots. The coolest part is you see his feet down here. He can actually pull up his little heel and foot right here to use only the wheels, and he does that a lot to make it so he's fat, so he can still drive fast but also be able to punch at the same time. While Hitoshi is meanwhile using his one for all to do most of the work. As for the made up story for what Hitoshi's quirk actually is, instead of it just being like brainwashing, his quirk is mind projection. In other words, he can choose to make himself stronger by wishing it with his mind, but if he uses too much of it, it could possibly hurt it. He could hurt himself easily. It's a dumb explanation, but what are they going to do? Question it? It's quirks. They all act weird. There's a guy with a squirt bottle for a head. So anyway, so as this goes on, both Hitoshi and Izuku are getting plenty of points. Bakugo's score isn't going to change, but except for the fact that he's going to get rescue points now because he's actually concerned about about helping people now because he's been hanging out with both Izuku and Hitoshi for long enough. And as they're both working, Ida is actually more paying attention to Izuku over Hitoshi because of one thing: the fact that Izuku is literally transforming into an actual vehicle every now and then, which is kind of interesting to him because he has, well, car engines in his legs or something like that. I'm not sure if they're car engines or what they're. Let's just say leg engines. Shut up, Mookie. Anyway, so not Hitoshi. So Ida starts to actually fight with Izuku because they seem to actually have similar fighting styles, where Izuku uses his speed to actually go after robots more often, and he can also turn his fingers into claws too. I got that idea from the figure that he's based off of that I have, which is Oil Slick. Anyway, and as they're working, they've noticed that there have been a lot less robots, but they know that they have plenty of points, and Hitoshi's not too worried either. Not long after they've started to get points, they noticed a purple-haired boy with like balls for hair. Yes, we're talking about Mineta here. And Mineta, more or less, is kind of struggling. I think you can see where I'm going with this. I'm not putting Mineta in the hero course because out of all the students, I don't think Mineta really has good intentions for being in the hero course. Don't get me wrong, he's a good comedy-based character, but he doesn't really do much. And when he does do stuff, it's either comedy-focused or perverted-focused. So, yeah, I'm just gonna replace him with Hitoshi. Oh, and one more thing, and I think you'll actually find this interesting. I'm also replacing, what's that one dude's name? I forgot his name, but it's the kid with the guy with the ability to like project like the air shields or whatever from Class 1B. I'm replacing him with somebody else too, but we'll get to that later. Anyway, so they notice that he's struggling a bit, and for the most part, he's not even paying attention to what he's supposed to be doing, and is like every time a girl goes by him, he immediately starts looking at them. And both Ida and Izuku know exactly what's going on, so they just like kind of leave him alone. They don't really want to help him because they know that he's gonna. They know what his intentions are. It's not hard to tell. Oh great! Now never mind. She's gone. Anyway, so they feel like they have enough points. So all three of them end up like just sitting on the sidelines. Izuku using his falcon form. Yes, he does turn into a falcon still, but he gets smaller when he turns into it, so it's not like he can carry them up there. He uses his falcon form while Hitoshi grabs Ida and jumps up to where Izuku's going, and they just sit on top of a roof of a building for a bit and watch what's going on. And then the 0-pointer shows up. Unbeknownst, we're gonna real quick go to a different point of view for a second. We're going to the teacher's point of view that are watching this whole thing go down. First off, All Might is extremely proud of Hitoshi and the other two, because, he helped train all three of them. And all the teachers are amazed at what all of them can do. And they're even more amazed at the fact that Izuku and Hitoshi are working together. Of course, they don't know that they are already friends. Anyway, same with Ida, but obviously they just met. So anyway, because of how well they're doing, and because they even help some people, Nezu, the insane animal, whatever the heck he's supposed to be that he is, decides to unleash the zero pointer. And of course, everybody runs away, and all three of them, four, because Bakugo, even though he's in another site, he's still paying attention. All four of them notice that everyone's running away from the zero pointer, which they of course would have done as well, but they're on a roof of the building right now, so they don't really have to worry about much until it actually gets close to them. And then Izuku notices that the same brown-haired girl is trapped under the rubble, like in canon. Unfortunately, Ida also sees, and he's kind of ticked off at the fact that nobody else is going back to help her. Shinzo feels the same, but he's more or less keeping his emotions contained. So all three of them rush to go help her, and upon doing so, several other students notice that they're running towards it, and they think they're being cocky and stuff. No, we obviously know they're not. So all three of them come up with a plan to get her out from under there. First off, Ida and Shinzo Ida and Izuku are gonna go help or lift up the debris off of Uraraka, while Shinzo distracts the zero pointer, specifically by jumping on its limbs, running up its arm, and trying to stop it from paying attention to everybody else and only pay attention to him. He'll give it a few punches every now and then, stop it from noticing them, and as soon as Ida, Izuku, and Uraraka are out of the way, Shinzo gets away and jumps off. He doesn't feel the need to take out the zero pointer because once again it doesn't give him any points. He does, however, feel the need to play smart and not try to do something stupid. I get the feeling that unlike Izuku, Shinzo would actually not do something stupid or reckless because anyway. So right after they save Uraraka, that's when the exam ends. And of course, Uraraka's really the only one that's been hurt out of all of them. And even if Izuku wasn't did get hurt, for the most part, he wouldn't really feel too much damage because he's kind of like metal, or whatever the heck a transformer's made. It's obviously made of metal, but you get the idea. Oh, and before we go on, I need to explain as to how his clothes work. He just kind of makes his own clothes with his body. He still is a human, so he still has the human genitalia. But unlike a regular human, his parts can shift into places where that'll cover those up. For instance, this thing right here. Anyway, so yeah, he's pretty much mostly naked the whole time, but no one's really gonna notice that because big robot thing that looks more human than it should. Anyway, so after the exam is over with, they talk to Uraraka for a bit, get to know her, and then they all part ways, hoping to see each other in school. All of them knowing they did well enough, Uraraka included. Anyway, let's see. I'm pretty sure there's a time skip right after the entrance exam, and All Might has no contact with any of with Izuku, or in this case the Izuku, Bakugo, and Shinzo. Anyway, so when I've said anyway several times now, I was about to say it again. So Izuku is just currently eating in his home with his mother, and his mother doesn't look any different from at the beginning of the series when she was skinny because she didn't get depressed over Izuku being quirkless. I think that's what the reason that happened. Correct me if I'm wrong. So they're just eating, and afterwards, Izuku and his mother are sitting on the couch, and then there's a knock at the door. Izuku not really thinking anything of it at the moment. He's just still watching TV. watching the latest news report, and his mom bursts in with a letter, telling it, freaking out on all fours, saying that the letter's here. And so he gets the letter, looks at it, and finds the disc inside, only to see that it's All Might who's on the projection. Him wondering why All Might is, well, at UA. And of course, this goes down with the whole spiel, but in this case, Izuku has a different amount of points, unlike the original one. In the original one, he only had 60 points. But in this one, he has about, let's see, his quirk isn't like super overpowered, but it does give him like super durability. So I'd say he has 40 villain points, and he has about, let's say, 70 rescue points, because he did more rescuing than actually fighting villains, because that's the kind of person that Izuku is anyway. Shinzo got about, let's say, about the same, except, let's say, 35 villain points and 45 rescue points. Meanwhile, Akatsuki got the same amount of villain points, but he also got like, let's say, 10 hero points, because even though he will help people, if they don't need it, he won't go out and help them. So like, he didn't do much saving, but he did enough in his perspective. So that would put Izuku in the lead, with Katsuki being in second and Hitoshi being in third. So Izuku's the first placer in the entrance exam. Not that he really cares. He's only there to learn how to be a hero. Unlike in the original show, him and Bakugo don't really have a way, or really want to fight each other, because they're kind of even as is. And so neither one of them is like trying to outdo the other one, because unlike in canon, Katsuki's actually more interested in being a hero for the right reasons and not for trying to be number one, and Izuku's reasoning hasn't really changed. He just wants to be a hero to help people. Mookie, I'm going to come out there and sit on you. Anyway. There's another anyway, and another one right there. So upon finding out that he was accepted into UA, of course, the famous Midoriya waterworks happen from both of them, because unlike in canon, he does read it in front of his mom. He does open it up in front of his mother. So now we do another quick skip to the day he's going to UA. And as he leaves, both Shinzo and Bakugo are waiting outside by the porch for him. And Izuku just goes out and transforms for the first time, not into his motorcycle form to get to UA, because there's two people here, and he doesn't want to have them both on the same motorbike. So he just transforms into a, let's say, a old Volkswagen Beetle. Yes, I'm having him turn to the same alt mode that Bumblebee has, just, his color scheme and not Bumblebee's color scheme. So imagine Bumblebee, but like with a green paint job, like this color green, and then like red stripes over the top of the hood and the roof. So as they drive up, Hound Dog is wondering who the heck is driving that car, because both of the students are in the back seat. They both Hitoshi and Bakugo get out, and then the car transforms back into Izuku with him in a new robot form. So the new robot form is going to look more like Bumblebee's robot form from the Bumblebee movie. I wanted it to be like the Generation 1 version of Bumblebee, but the thing is, the Generation 1 version of Bumblebee looks kind of chubby. Not that I don't have a problem with it. It's one of my favorite designs, but I wanted it to still look more like Izuku, like have his build and everything. So I wanted it to be the one that looks more, human shaped than just a box with arms and legs and a head. Again, no offense to Bumblebee. Oh look, she's over here at the back now. Sup, Mookie? I will let you in at 8. That's the rule. Anyway, there's another one. So as they go in, Hound Dog looks at Izuku and wonders if he should lecture him about using his quirk in public. But then again, he really didn't use his quirk for anything other than getting him to school faster. So it's not like he really did anything that's like super illegal. So he just let it go, because once again, Izuku's not using that quirk to attack anyone or get himself involved. So they get to their class, and of course, Katsuki and Shinzo are astonished by the size of the door. Izuku's not. because, he's usually kind of big. He just has the ability to mass shift himself down anyway, so for once he didn't feel like he had to be small. So he just let himself grow a little bit. Anyway, so there's another one. So they get into their class, and they all just sit there and wait. Not long after, a couple other students come in. Of course, all the ones that we've seen already. And then Uraraka comes in, and she immediately goes over to the three boys who saved her, and she starts talking with them, and they start talking with her. Shinzo being the one that doesn't talk as much because it's Shinzo. And as they keep talking, both Izuku and Shinzo and Bakugo, but he doesn't acknowledge it, notice a hobo walking into the classroom, and this is Aizawa. Of course, because Izuku is a hero nerd, he actually figures out who it is right off the bat. Unlike in canon, he actually is able to sneak up on Aizawa a lot easier and actually watch some of the stuff he does because of the fact that he can change into vehicles and stuff, and even change into other smaller things. So Aizawa sits there for a minute waiting for everyone to be quiet, and once everyone does, he scolds them for taking more than 10 seconds to shut up, and with only the three boys in the back actually acknowledging him being there. And then he tells them to go outside and, of course, do the, what's it called? The quirk thing, where they do all the tests. And unlike in canon, Class 1B is out there as well. Because Vlad wants to make sure that all of these students are, not at rivalry with one another. Even though there's a whole Class 1A, 1B rivalry, he has a bad feeling about a certain blonde kid in his class would cause more problems than he needs to, and that's Monoma. So, they all start chatting, and Izuku and Bakugo notice that there is a blonde girl with two messy buns in her hair, and fangs for some reason. She also seems to have cat eyes that are yellow. Yeah, I'm putting Toga in this one. Number one, because Toga's family are pieces of shit. And number two, let's just say she has seen both Katsuki and Izuku every now and then out there just kind of messing around, especially noticing when Izuku turns into vehicles. Unlike everybody else who doesn't seem to ever notice when he transforms, she's actually seen it a few times, and she's also astonished at the fact that Katsuki wants to be a hero, even though he's kind of aggressive and stuff. But she knows that that he means well. He's just terrible at showing any other emotion besides intense rage, or just intense emotions in general that are, on the negative side. Anyway, that's her whole reasoning for wanting to be a hero, is because of seeing them all the time, and they never saw her at all. Anyway, so she sees them and immediately walks over and starts talking and telling them how they're the reason why she decided to pursue being a hero, and that she actually ran away from her home because her parents kept calling her a monster. Now, this actually pissed Katsuki off quite a bit because of the fact that, one, he's angry all the time and treats everybody that he doesn't care about besides his friends like shit. And even then, his parents still care about him because they're his parents. And knowing that she seems a lot more mellow than he does, or that's at least according to him, he's kind of ticked at the fact that parents can be so heartless. But Toga then explains that they call her a monster because of her quirk, and that's blood-related. But thanks to the fact that she actually met up with Vlad King one day, she actually was able to get into UA. Mostly because of the fact that she literally had nowhere else to go, so she's kind of living at UA at the moment. And Vlad himself is actually thinking about adopting her, but he hasn't brought this up yet. So Aizawa tells them that they're about to do some little challenges with their quirk. That they're only allowed to use their quirk. But then he brings up the fact that if anybody doesn't show that they're giving it their all, he will expel them. And of course, several people don't think this is fair, but Izuku, Hitoshi, and Bakugo are being quiet because they know that Aizawa is being very serious, and that if anything, they should be giving it their all. Otherwise, not really gonna go out well. Not gonna bode well for them. So as they start doing the test, Izuku is of course asked to do his first, and what he does is he turns his hand into a little nozzle, puts the ball inside, and shoots the ball out of his arm, sending it flying. I'd say about somewhere around 800 meters. Let's say that. Of course, all the students are amazed at this, but because of Aizawa's threat earlier, they try to take it seriously. So as they start doing the tests, let's say we're mostly going to focus on Izuku like nobody else, because Izuku is like the main character in all this. So for the 100 meter, I think it was the 50 meter dash or something, Izuku would transform into his motorbike form, which of course would surprise a lot of people. And he's actually up against Ida this time around instead of Katsuki, and he actually loses to Ida, but he's still fast enough just to barely finish right behind him. So he gets like 1 second or like maybe half a second behind Ida. When it comes to the seated toe touch, that one is kind of like cheating for him, because he can just like shift his parts so that he's flexible enough to do it multiple times. The sideways jumps, that one is also kind of easy, because he can just like turn his feet into springs and like launch himself back and forth. Like I said, he's smart enough to know how to use tools. As for the grip strength, he's clearly the strongest one there physically, besides, Hitoshi, who is the only one that gets higher than him. Izuku kind of breaks the machine because of how, well, you can see how meaty his hands are. Well, at least in the bike form. But he kind of like breaks the machine. Anyway, he takes second in that one. For the long jump, he just turns into his falcon form, flaps once, and then glides to the other side. Counts as a jump because he didn't technically fly. He just glid or glided. I don't know what the word is. For the need to make sure I actually remember all of them. For the one where they're like just running around the track, that one he comes in first because of one small fact. He can turn into vehicles, so he can just keep doing that as long as he wants, as long as he doesn't run out of gas. And in his case, actually, I probably should talk about what his fuel is. Let's just say his fuel is Katsudon, which is why he's eating so much of it all the time. So as it ends, the person in last place would be, let's say, there's 40 of them in total. But the person that would be in last place would probably be... Crap, I forgot that person's name now. Oh yeah, Toru Hagakure. But of course, no one's getting expelled because everybody gave it their all. Once again, Minetta's not here. But when, let's see, what would come next? It's taken me a little bit to remember what's supposed to come next and stuff. I haven't actually watched the first few episodes of My Hero Academia in a while, but I remember how it goes down. So let's see. Anyway, after their first day, they all decide to go ahead and head home. Well, not decide to. They are supposed to go home. And as they're leaving, towards the doors to exit UA, they go past the support course, only for the door to explode. You know where I'm going with this. Something with a pink head or something like that flies out and slams into Izuku, but because of him being, sturdy and metal and heavy, it just bumps into him, and he just looks over into the direction it is. He looks down to see a Meihatsume. And once she sees him, she starts going nuts, thinking he's an actual robot and not, a student. Of course, he explains to her that he's not a robot and that he's actually just, a human with a quirk that allows him to turn into different vehicles, and that just makes him into a robot. And so she starts trying to figure out well, what makes him work, what kind of babies would work with him. But unfortunately, he has to turn her down, saying that he can actually just sort of make whatever invention he wants in his body. And May decides that maybe if she takes a blood sample from him, she can figure out how to make better machinery. And so she drags him into the support course, closes the door, and Hitoshi and Bakugo are just left there confused and wondering what just happened. They decide to go home because Izuku's not going to be leaving anytime soon. And even though Power Loader's trying to get May to leave, she's not leaving either. Anyway, Izuku comes home late, and his mother is, of course, wondering where he's been. And he says he pretty much says that he was being held hostage by a pink-headed mad scientist. And his mother doesn't really know what's going on, and before she can confirm anything, he just heads to his room and falls asleep on his bed. But, of course, May did actually get some success from it. But, for now, we'll end it there, and we'll pick this up, let's say, with the next, I don't know, I'll figure it out as time goes on. I usually like uploading these whenever I get some free time, and I got plenty of free time right now, so if you enjoyed, like and subscribe. I'll see you for the next one.